All right, guys, it is go time. Here is another episode of the No Bullshit podcast for contractors, turning your profits right into your freedom. And that's what it's all about, man. It's all about getting your profits to pay for your freedom. That's really what the motto is about, my motto of being a profitable contractor. All right. So what are we talking about today? Today is part two of a two-part series. And it's all about the effects of decreasing your margins, decreasing your pricing, how it can literally put you out of business. It can 10x your acceleration to go into bankruptcy. And that's what we're going to get into today. So, like I said, it's the No Bullshit podcast. I'm going to give you guys tips and tricks. I'm going to give you guys insights. I'm going to show you examples. I can show you where you can get help, where you can get tools and tactics. That's why it's no bullshit, right? So, here's where I want to sort of position this. Guys, it's really important that you get your mind going in the right place. I'm going to bring you guys everything. I want you to bring everything. So let me just take a minute and get your mind in the right place. If you're driving your truck, if you're at the office, I don't care. If you're on the toilet listening to this podcast, you're at the right place. If you're looking to maximize your profits, if you're looking to really become a champion CEO business owner as a contractor, if you're looking at how do I get off these tools? Not that you don't like being on the tools. I love still being on the tools. Guys, I still love doing projects, but if you have to be on the tools versus, you're on the tools because your business is running without you, it's a well-oiled machine, you're making all the profits, you're making all the cash flow, okay? Then we got to do something about it, all right? And that's the mindset of being a champion CEO, is about constantly learning things to differentiate themselves, to dominate their market, to really become a champion CEO. And champions are what? They are champions, right? They do things differently than the competition. So what I'm going to get into today is going to blow your freaking mind away, all right? That I'm on a mission to do that because I want you to realize that how a small change, how in this example, a real live example, John, electrical contractor, how just decreasing his profits by 10% almost put him like inches away from going into bankruptcy. How decreasing his margins, okay, just by 10%, okay, made his wife almost divorce him. How it more than doubled the amount of time he had to put into the business. How it more than doubled how much debt he got into. Okay. Understanding this concept of what happens when you decrease your pricing, you decrease your margins, or in this case today, how decreasing your margins, period, is going to have an exponential effect on your business is super key. So if you can relate to this, and if it's something that you want to prevent again, or something that you're going through right now that you want to stop, or something in the future, right? Whatever that is, and you want to improve your business and make more profits as a contractor, and you're willing to learn, you're willing to change, stay on this podcast. If you are not willing to take these insights, these tricks, these tips, okay, then jump onto another podcast, listen to the radio, I don't know, change channels, okay, because you're going to waste your time and you're going to waste my time, all right? I told you, it's no bullshit, okay? But for those of you that want to become a champion CEO, for those of you that are part of the champion CEO family, okay, Prof for Contractors, love you guys. You're the best. You guys really help push me to doing these podcasts and bring in, some of this gold and these gifts so that other great contractors, good people can become better. I just want to say thank you, okay? And for those family members, I'm going to guide you guys as to where you can go and watch these, more in-depth videos on this and how you can get more insights and things of that nature. Okay, so if it sounds like a plan, let's rock and roll. So sounds like a plan. Let's do it. So here's the example I'm going to give you, okay? And it's a real case study. A case study, guys, is basically a real example, okay, of what the effects are. So this is going to be this is one of our clients called John, okay? And John owns an electrical contracting company. And here's John's scenario. John's scenario was he comes to us, and I'll never forget talking to him. And he comes to us and he goes, he's chatting with me. He's like, "Hey, Andrew, I'm not sure if you can help, but I'm about to close up the business. and I've been in business for 16 years. And I just don't understand what the fuck's going on here. I increased my sales. I went from $1 million the prior year to $1.6 million. And I've got no money. My wife's getting ready to leave me because it was bad before. Now it's been a nightmare as far as being away from home, not being there for the kids. I'm putting in like 70, 80 hours a week. I just don't fucking understand it. You know, I had a not bad year. Actually, it was one of the best years I had at $1 million. And I had money in the bank. And then I went and I decided to get more sales. I decreased my pricing a little bit. You know, I didn't think it was a big deal. And I'm now into this situation. I've had to borrow money from my mom, borrow money from my brothers. I owe everybody. He's like, I don't know if you can help me. I said, well, John, the very first thing that we got to understand, and this is going out to you guys, the very first thing that you got to understand is you got to understand the principles of the effects of what can happen when you decrease your pricing. So I walked this through with John. So after looking at his numbers, by the way, guys, you need to learn your financials. We've got an amazing, partnership with an accounting firm, Govero and Associates. Bob is a freaking rock star. Shauna, the whole team, they got the whole organization. Regardless, you've got to know your numbers, and you've got to make sure as we go through this that you remember you've got to surround yourself with the experts, the people that know the shit, that are doing this shit, that are benefiting from this stuff, versus you trying to figure it out for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Okay. So I sat down with John. I looked at his numbers and I quickly calculated what had happened. So I'm going to round up some of his numbers here. So I'm not using like pennies. Okay. Nickels and dimes. We're rounding it up to make it easier for you guys listening in. And if you're watching this video, I'm going to use some visual aids to help you. Okay. So take notes, pull your truck over, or think about as you listen through this podcast, hey man, I got to go back, listen to it again, take some notes. But I want to give you tactical things. But the first thing is your awareness level. So I said to John, John, I'm going to tell you right now, John, you went from 30% gross profit at $1 million to 20% gross profit. He's like, yeah. So why'd you do that? He said, well, I already told you, because I wanted to get more sales. I said, yeah. John, did you understand what the impact is? He goes, well, fucking, that's why I'm talking to you. That's a good point. Good point, dude. Actually, I should get John on this, which would be pretty cool. But anyways, I said, John, let's walk through this. So I want you guys to walk through this. So if you're driving in your truck, okay, I'm going to use some simple numbers. These are John's numbers, sort of round it up. And if you're sitting down, you want to take what I'm telling you and you want to apply this shit to your business. Okay. So the first thing we took with John was his sales when he was at $1 million the prior year. Okay. So that's what I'd want you guys to do. Okay. Just so that you got something to reference. Like, we want to make this real, not just a story. Okay. I want to hear about you guys applying this stuff, whether you're part of the Champion CEO family or you're not. I want to hear your feedback, and I want you hopefully to come back and go, freaking Andrew, that was amazing. Right. Like, that really helped my business. It changed my life, because I'm on a mission to help as many people, as many contractors as possible. 100,000 contractors is my goal before my feet hit the ground, and we're well on that mission. So here he is, $1 million business. Okay, so I'm using my little visual aid over here. $1 million in business, in sales. Okay, so here we are, $1 million in sales. So mentally, if you're driving the truck, just think about $1 million. Okay, he made 30 points gross profit. So how much profit did he make? Okay, I'm just going to try and make it simple. So he made 30% profit. I'm not going to get onto the details of net profit, gross profit, all these. Okay, I'm just going to say 30% gross profit. So the amount of profit he'd make on $1 million at 30 points, 30% is what? 300,000. Okay, everybody got that? I think we can all follow that. So John's like, okay, yeah, man. Yeah, of course. He goes, yeah, I knew that. I said, okay. So $1 million, 30 points, you made 300,000. Yeah. And that's when things were pretty good. Yeah. I said, okay. John, you decreased your pricing down to 20%. It was, again, 2 point whatever, but we're going to say 20%. Yeah, I did that to get more sales. Yep. So, okay. John, let's go through this. He goes, okay. I said, at $1 million at 20 points, what do you end up with? He's like, 200,000. But he says, but Andrew, but I did more sales than that. I said, no, I get your point. I just want to walk you through this. So at 20%, which is where you're at, you would make $200,000 on your $1 million. On that, if you did the exact same year, the $1 million that prior year, instead of 30 points and making $300,000, you were at, if we use the current percentage, you would be at 20 points and you'd make $200,000. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. But Andrew, I'm increasing my sales. I said, whoa, John, bear with me, dude. So everybody on here, bear with me. What is the difference, everybody, between $300,000 and $200,000? It's $100,000. Pretty simple. Hope everybody's following me. Okay. All you need to know is from addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay. It's $100,000 difference. So at the percentage that he reduced his pricing in today's world, in just last year, not the previous year, at 20 points, instead of making $300,000 and $1 million, he only made $200,000. The difference between those two, okay, is $100,000. Now here's where it gets crazy. Hang on, here we go. For John to make up for that $100,000 loss from 300 to 200, how much sales would we have to do? Keep in mind, here's the little trick, the magic show. Here's the how they do the magic show. At 20 points, because that's where he's at, to make up for that $100,000, to make the same $300,000, he would have to do $500,000 more in sales at 20 points to make up for that $100,000 that he lost. Hopefully you guys are getting this. At $1.5 million on 20 points is $300,000 in profit. At $1 million at 30 points is $300,000 in profit. He would have to do 50% more sales just to make the same fucking profit. And that's what happened. He honestly started to tear up. Okay. Very emotional. Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because the amount of sacrifice that he can't get back, the amount of time that he can't get back away from his family, the amount of chaos that he had to deal with. And I'm going to tell you the fucking chaos here. Okay. He actually made less than that. He actually made less than the 20 points. He actually made less than the $200,000. Okay. He made less than the $300,000. And yet he had to do 50% more. This is a bigger problem than what I've even touched on today. This is just skimming the freaking surface. Okay. By the way, for those champion CEOs that want to get more insights on this, let me just go to our little membership site. You guys want to go to module 6. Let me just share my screen. Okay. Share my screen here. All right. So you want to go to module 6. You want to go to video number 3, increase margins for Class A clients. You guys got a couple of cheat sheets and calculators. I break it all down for you. Super, super simple. Okay. And for those of you that aren't part of the Champion CEO group, let me just show this visual aid one more time so that you guys can get a gauge of it. Actually, I'm not sure if I was sharing it there just a minute ago, but we'll just glance over it again quickly. So here he was here, everybody. Okay. I put this nice little slide together for you. Here he was over here at $1 million. At 30 points, he made 300,000. At 20 points, applying the current percentage that he dropped, at $1 million, he would only make 200,000. The difference between the two is what? $100,000 from what he would have made. Okay. For him to make up for that 100,000, to make the same amount that he made at 30 points at $1 million, he had to do $1.5 million, 50% more sales. Okay. 50%. So here's where the killer is. So picture, for all of you guys listening in, picture this for a second. Yeah, we're all tradespeople, right? So we all know what a square is. Okay. One of my favorite tools. Okay. It's one of my favorite tools is a square. for building things. I love building it. It's easy. Anyways, so picture you got this square, right? So you're driving in your truck right now. You're listening. You got this square. You picture you lay it on the ground, okay? And we're gonna draw a graph that like a hockey stick that goes up, and we're gonna draw a graph that goes down, okay? The one that goes up, okay, I'm just gonna do it in black. The one that goes down, I'm gonna do it in red, okay? So let's talk about the one that goes up. If you've got to land, in John's case, he had to land $500,000 more in work just to make the same amount of profits that he made in the past. Well, what did John have to do in order for that to happen? Really quickly, John had to do what? He had to do fucking way more quotes, right? The number of quotes that he did went through the roof. You're like, what? Yes. He didn't have to quote 50% more quotes to equal 50% more sales. Guys, you know it. I know it. You don't land 100% of the jobs you quote. And if you are landing 100% of the jobs that you quote, go back to the previous podcast about increasing your pricing, because you sure as shit need to increase your pricing. Okay. You should, on average, be only getting, this is my little test and metric baseline, okay, on hundreds and hundreds of contractors. You should only be landing between 60 and 70% of the jobs you quote, because that's a really good gauge to tell you that the people that you're landing are buying from you with a much higher mindset of your true value, versus if you're landing 100% of the jobs that you quote, or even close to that, anything over 65, 70%, you're landing a whole shitload of people that are buying from you because you're the lowest price. And if you are the lowest, if your strategy for landing work is to be the lowest price, holy shit, that's a bad strategy. Okay. That's a freaking strategy to put you out of business. So anyways, go back to the previous podcast. So think about this. For him to compensate for that loss, right? He didn't have to just do 50% more quotes. He had to, in his case, do 2 to 3x. Okay. Because John was not landing all the jobs that he quoted. So for him to actually land 50% more sales, John had to do 2 to 3x more quotes. Guys, he was already killing himself with, working nights and weekends in the past when he was profitable at $1 million. Now he's having to work even more. Okay. And what do you think happens, guys, when you quote more jobs and you're under more pressure? What do you think happens? You make more mistakes, especially when you don't have a process and a policy and a step-by-step procedure to ensure that you're quoting your jobs profitable. Like, that's a whole nother conversation that I'm going to do a podcast on. So what happens with this? Your quotes, number of quotes you got to do go through the roof. Okay. What else goes through the roof? Well, if you have to increase your sales by 50%, your inventory does what? It goes through the roof, right? You know it and I know it. So now you got what? Cash sitting on the freaking shelves, right? And somebody's got to manage that. You know and I know. Managing inventory is it's a skill set all on its own. Okay. So if you have any leaks in managing your inventory, you're screwed. Okay. And by the way, I'm only on number of quotes and inventory. What about employees? If he has to increase this is the difference between surrounding yourself. I'm not trying to boast, guys. This is the no bullshit podcast. Whether it's me or somebody else, you got to sure shit get experts that are in the field, that have been there and done that and are doing it and have succeeded in the contracting world. Okay. I know it. You know it. More quotes, more inventory, right? Unless you're a tradesperson, you wouldn't be thinking like this. More employees. And guess what? You think that's going to be easy to find? Guys, it's going to be a freaking nightmare. How many interviews would you have to do? How difficult is it for you to find people now? Imagine having to find people to handle 50% more sales. Seriously. Okay. What ends up happening? You end up landing a lot of Class D deadbeat employees, guys that don't show up on time, guys that are not willing to follow your systems and procedures, guys that are not, there to help you grow the business. They are there just for themselves. Okay. Stealing from you, all the rest of that, because you're having to, deal with the lowest of the lowest, because in order for you to support these contracts that you've had to land and that additional sales, you're having to take whoever you can. I mean, if you don't have a hiring process, like the process we have for Contractors, where there's a specific application form, where there's a specific way to do an ad, all these different steps, where there's onboarding, to ensure that when you land an employee, you set them up for success, you're going to be screwed. Okay. You're literally setting up your employees for failure if you don't have that. Next, that has to increase, because now we have to increase 50% more sales. Okay. Is what? If you get Class D employees, trust me, lowering your pricing is going to attract more Class D deadbeat clients that don't want to pay you, that want to engage with you only because you're the lowest price. And trust me, Class D clients, deadbeat clients, or Class C can't deal with clients, I'll put that there as well. They are some of the worst. They are the worst communicators. They don't give a shit about you. You got to you got to live by their schedule. You got to play by their rules, which is changing all the time. And they don't have any interest in you succeeding. Okay? These deadbeats. We want to only deal with Class A awesome clients, or Class B basic clients that are moving up to Class A. All right? But this is what you're attracting because you've just lowered your pricing. Okay? That's what ends up happening. Now, if you got Class D employees, Class D clients, what happens to your callbacks? Right? What's a callback? You guys know what a callback is. Callback is when your guys go out and because of a lack of systems, because of chaos, because they're too busy, because they got too much work, they're working too hard, all the rest of that, right? They got the wrong attitude, all those other areas, that they don't do what it is they're supposed to do. And the client phones up and says, hey man, you forgot to put the, cover plates on the receptacles. You forgot to, put the vent, on the toilets. You forgot, let alone if what they forgot cost you money because there was damage to the building or something. You got to go back on a callback out of your own freaking pocket and fix it while you pay your guys. Okay? So you think about all of this stuff creates way more complexity. If you increase your sales by 50%, the complexity of your business doesn't need to be supported by an extra 50% of systems. It tends to be at least 2 to 3x that. It's just the way that it is, okay? You need more guys in the field. You need more office staff. You're freaking processing more paperwork. Guys, it just goes on and on and on. Hopefully you get my point. Like we all started off in this conversation with the example, okay, of John going from $1 million in sales at 30 points to then now he's at 1.6 million. And I use the example, at 20 points that John at $1.5 million was not making any more. He made, $300,000 in profits. Same amount of profits he made, okay, at $1 million. But the profits were not even there. And the reason that the profits weren't even there, just with this math, is because he didn't consider all these other areas that cost him money. More quotes and more time means what? It costs you. Time is money. It costs you more cash. More Class D clients creating more callbacks, it costs you cash. More inventory is cash right out of your pocket. More Class D clients that aren't paying you, cash out of your pocket, let alone inefficiencies, okay? And it goes on and on and on. More jobs, right? Look at this. More jobs to manage. And look, as a fellow contractor, guys, and look, if you're listening in on this and you're part of the Champion CEO family, guys, click the link below to get some more help. One of the worst things at this stage in listening in is that if you think you can figure all this shit out on your own, you're screwed. Okay? I wish to God I had somebody like me, or even we got a whole whack of experts. We have bookkeeping experts, accounting experts. And all you Champion CEOs out there, reach out to our experts, the people that are in your back, that right in your back pocket, right? Reach out to the experts on sharing with you guys, whether it's on the quoting side, making sure you're pricing jobs properly, making sure you're running the jobs properly, whatever that is. And for everybody else, make sure that you're raising your hand to get help, either with us or somebody else. So let's start wrapping this baby up. I'm trying to stay tight to 30 minutes. And that's what I'm going to do. I think we're 24 minutes in. But guys, we've got some resources. If you're not part of the Champion CEO group, I'll put them down below. A nice little cheat sheet, calculator for you guys, similar to what I did on the previous podcast. the effects of increasing pricing. This one is the effects of decreasing pricing. Take it, use it, apply it to your business, okay? And make it happen, right? You need to understand at this time, if you're listening in on this, maybe this podcast will be listened to ages from now, but if you're listening to this and it is, summertime, as my dad would say, it's hay season, right? More than likely, if you're any good of a contractor, you're busy, okay? Make sure that you leverage increasing your pricing to get the right clients, to get the right employees, to get the right profits. And like I said in the last one, how increasing your pricing ever so subtly by 10% or even less can allow you to do less than 10, 15, 20, 25 and more, less work and make more profits, okay? Let's do less and make more. This is let's do more and make less. That's fucking crazy, okay? But again, you think, and here's the other thing. Back to losing profits, okay? It all adds up. It's not just about decreasing your pricing. It's decreasing your margins. So decreasing your pricing is one of the fastest ways to lose profits. So is not running your jobs efficiently. Decreases your what? Your profits. So is not pricing your jobs properly. Decreases your profits. So is not making sure you're getting the most out of your team members, okay? It's going to decrease your profits. And callbacks and inventory and, okay? It goes on and on, guys. This is stuff that's going to 10x you, fast track into getting in the hole, and you'll never be able to get out of it, okay? So when we look at this, your cash flow goes down because you've got to manage more jobs, more inventory, more Class D clients, more callbacks, and your cash is your gas, guys. When you run out of cash, that's it. You're done. Okay? And your profits feed your cash flow. So understand, I guess where I was going with this was trying to make a point. Don't look at losing $50 as $50. Oh, I'm serious. Don't look at losing $1,000 as $1,000. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If you lose $1,000 on a job, landing another $1,000 job is not going to equate to that. It is not going to pay for that $1,000. Okay? Like if you got a company, it's doing 10%. And by the way, most contractors that come to us, don't feel bad about this. Don't feel bad if you haven't gotten this stuff before. If you haven't applied it, if this is your first time learning this stuff, don't feel bad. Feel bad about not applying this stuff. Okay? I'm going to start wrapping that up. I'll talk to that in just a second. But if you lost $1,000 on a job, imagine we got a contractor and they're only making 10 points net. They would have to do $10,000 worth of sales, right? They'd have to do that, times 2, times 3, X number of jobs to quote to land $10,000 worth of sales just to pay for the $1,000. So fight for your profits, protect your profits. Okay. And I looked at it always this way. And you know what? My mindset changed. I'll be honest with you. When I first had my daughter, Madison. And I remember my mom and my wife sitting down with me and talking about this kind of stuff. And I was really frustrated and I was pissed off. And I was like, I don't need to learn this stuff. But then I finally, opened up my eyes when my wife said to me, she goes, Andrew, imagine you're at a coffee shop and, Madison's older and, she's got a $20 bill. It's her $20 bill. And some guy comes walking along and takes the $20 bill. Like they walk in the store and they take the $20 bill. What would you do? Well, back in the day, all right, I'm not bragging or anything or trying to be some tough guy, but back in the day with my bad temper, I probably would have knocked the crap out of the guy. That's me. Okay. And now I've come a long ways. I'm not like that anymore. But I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. She goes, interesting how hard you'd fight for $20 for your daughter. Yet you're losing all this money. You're not learning the shit. And it's affecting your family. And it fucking hit me, man. I'm like, that's a good point. Look at your money in whatever way you have to. Look at your profits. Look at your margins as your vehicle, getting your profits to what? Pay for your freedom. If you're not learning the shit, if you're not raising your hand to get help, okay? We've broken down, You guys got a glimpse of what some of our champion sales get to get. We've broken down products for you guys so you can, like for next to nothing, get your hands on something that's going to show you how to price your jobs profitably, show you how to run your jobs profitably, right? Instead of having to get everything, be overwhelmed, like just get the chunks, get the pieces that you're like, I got to focus in on this. Like raise your hand, whether it's with us or somebody else, okay? Because your profits are either going to pay for your freedom or they're going to pay for your poverty. That's it. You got to learn this shit. You got to learn it as fast as possible because the shit that you screw up on is not equated to the same amount of time that it took to screw it up. If a job takes a week and you lose profits on it, if a job takes a month and you lose profits on it, it could take you months, it could take you years to pay for that shit. And that only happens after you figure out how to do it the right way. Okay? Time is of the essence. Profits is of the essence. Treat your profits like you're protecting your profits with your life. Okay? Because it literally is affecting your life. It's affecting your kid's life. It is affecting your ability to pay your bills, your ability to, do things, do less with more and literally make more profits. Okay? And really get that freedom, that you deserve and your family deserves. So take it seriously. Another non-bullshit podcast from Andrew Houston here, founder, owner of Profit for Contractors. I got a whole fucking team of people that would love to help you guys. We got a whole whack of resources and tools and templates out there on social media and what have you to help you guys, that are not part of the family for free. Get started. Raise your hand. Don't do it alone. Don't do what I did. Don't do what John did for 16 years, right? Working hard for less than nothing and having your business run you into the ground. Thank God John recovered. John more than doubled his freaking profits in 6 months because he got rid of the Class Ds. He learned how to price his jobs profitably. He learned the power of understanding his numbers. And that was the beginning. He's got a long ways to go. John, you're an awesome guy. You know who I'm talking to. And you know what? You have every single one of you guys has the ability to learn this shit. Okay. You just have to have the mindset to want to learn it. And that's really what it's all about. Don't be the John. Don't be the me. Don't keep being the person that's working so hard for so little. It's not needed. It's not necessary. And that's it, man. So I'm going to keep bringing you guys more podcasts, give you guys more insights, and hopefully the sound quality worked better. Hopefully everything technically is working better. And that's it. So we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Later.